I'm Lakhani, and I'm a costume designer and a celebrity fashion stylist. And I'm really excited to be here talking about modern Maharajas.
Hi, I'm Raghavendra Rathore. I'm really excited to be part of this conversation, talking about modern Maharajas, natural diamonds, and much more. So, as a child, I remember growing up polishing my father's buttons before every ceremony in Jodhpur, and little diamonds, and, all natural, whether it is a Golconda diamond or whether it's an English Cartier set diamond. I think the relevance of and the importance of diamond didn't hit me till much later, because this was just part of a routine that one did. And the unfortunate thing is that it just vanished in the 80s. I mean, the ceremonies and everything just sort of took a back, because every third day in Jodhpur, there was some function, and these ajkans would come out, and the buttons would be sent to the family to polish and clean up. So I used to be so excited looking at men wearing jewelry. I mean, it was, I was a boarding school boy. In school, it was a shishi thing, so we didn't realize the importance of it. And I think the fact that when you hold a diamond button in your hand, which has come down 600 years through lineage, and it's a perfect heirloom, I think you suddenly realize the power of it, because it's something that your great-grandfather and possibly his great-grandfather touched and felt. This is not the same with fashion. I mean, the clothes perish, but to me, the importance of jewelry was very important throughout my childhood, but the relevance of it only came much later when I got into the design world. So what I was very interested to know is, how do you draw into the old world past, the old India, the Maharaja culture, and modernize it and present it to the people who are the flag bearers of style today, Bollywood, personalities, movies that you work with? That'll be very nice for me to sort of get that perspective from you.
Raghavendra, for me, while I was growing up, I was in a very middle class family. So the jewelry and per se diamonds was something that was only passed on from generations. So throughout my growing up, even when it's a birthday or it was an important day, or if I've excelled in my exam, the talk was always about getting a diamond, because it's going to be there forever, and it's going to be you're going to probably get married one day, and it's going to be there for you. So it was something like that. And I always saw, my grandmother's jewelry and my jewelry that my dad was buying for me. And the jewelry that she had, that probably came from her wedding, was just so much more beautiful. And I really loved those pieces. And I used to like playing dress up with her diamonds at the time. So for me, it was just something that was beautiful. And then came breakfast at Tiffany's, and I got even more excited about diamonds. And, I bought my first diamond when I could afford it. It was the first thing I bought for myself when I, got a big paycheck. And then there was a book that my father had presented me called The Maharajas of India. And it was this book. And later he got me the Nizams of India, and the jewelry over there that you see. From the brooches that they wear to the, the rings, the layering of the necklaces, the kalgis, like all of that was really exciting for me. And I think that's actually where my excitement to be a costume designer one day arose, because I felt that if I'm a fashion designer, I might not be able to tap in all these elements. But if I'm a costume designer and one day I could dress a Maharaja, it would be, something really exciting. And this is exactly what got me excited to come on board. So Whereas it's not every day that we do a film, coming back to your question, it's not every day where we do a film where we have to dress a Maharaja. There are still pieces that you take they were styled beautifully. Not only do they dress beautifully, but every piece that they wear adds so much to the royalty, to the richness, to their stature, and it somehow demands respect. So every time, like whenever there is an event that I'm styling, say even a Karan or a Ranveer or a Manisa, for it's if that event is of a caliber, like say if it's a national award, or if you're presenting your country somewhere, or if you are, it's a patriotic, like the minute there is a little more respect that event demands, it's always a lovely Jodhpur, a lovely Bandgala, and your name synonyms always with it. And then you bring on the jewelry, you get the malas, and you get the rings, or you get the brooch, and it's just that one piece that you add, and the whole look is elevated. So I really love doing that.
You know what really, when you say what you just said is interesting, is that it's actually people like you bring the natural diamond flavors to a larger audience through what you do. So I've always believed that all the diamonds and all the wonderful treasures actually belong to the state, and the state was nothing but people. So, and to me, I remember that it was all about show. There was women's jewelry, which had a different purpose. It was more subtle. It was more about, the individual. But the diamonds that I saw on men was always about showing. And I think it was a tool and an instrument that was used to send a message. Also, the idea of passing it down through legacy. But what I wanted to stress on is that it was not an isolated royal, it was actually to impress upon the British or whoever else it was, the power of the state. So whether it's Patiala or the Nizam or even Kashmir, I think they were doing things that today, Pharrell Williams is doing as a or even, for example, I think it's Timothy Chalamet who's sort of suddenly taken to diamonds. And it's all about showing a particular part of their personality and connecting it to something they really believe in. So I just find it fascinating that when it started, it was never for self.
Yeah.
Today, it's about the image, the selfie that you're taking, or the image you're creating when you go for these big events, and people are wearing it again for the same purpose. And the relevance of the two genres, as in past 100 years ago and today, there is some similarity. Today, the good thing is that it's when you see Ranveer Singh wearing it, I think everybody aspires to take at least one experience, whether it's for a wedding or whether it's just for a start in the year. And a job of a designer really is to pick up that little hint and convert that into commerce and present it back. So the grooms today, at least the ones that we dress, because we don't do so much embroidery on clothes. So the relevance of the outfit only comes alive when you see a very good set of diamonds. And it takes literally 2 seconds or 3 seconds for a trained eye to see if it's a aesthetically nicely put together natural diamond. One has to be more careful today that you have to wear it as a light gesture rather than really in your face. So it's become now a trend for us to present for every groom a set of diamond buttons, the Kilangi, or whether it is Sarpage. And then there are people who like bracelets. We've been designing beautiful natural diamond bracelets. And it's very select. It's very select, but it's all customized with their initials. So finding the stone has been an amazing journey for us. How do you overcome all this? Because the budgets for movies and for styling are very temporary. In fact, nobody wants to invest in a permanent purchase, but you have to show the best of the best. So how does that work? Is it a partnership, or how does that come about?
So it's usually when I am doing a film like this, I usually like to reach out to people who I believe in. And not only who I love as per designs, but people whose story I believe in, or jewelers whose story I believe in, who've been in the, who know the know-how and who've been in the industry for a while, who know what we're doing, and who have an equal respect for what the art that we want to show. Because at the end of the day, I feel when we're doing designing films, it's a form of reflection of what the story we want to say. So usually we end up doing like a partnership of sorts. It's not always that you can get someone on board, and sometimes you need pieces from various designers, jewelers, and that time you kind of take it scene by scene. But usually it works best for me if there is a particular house that comes on board, and then we design pieces specially and specifically for the film and for the characters, and we give each of them like a signature piece, like how you also mentioned that these are pieces that are actually carried forward down the generation. So usually in these period films, you want to show that there is this signature piece which is speaking everything about the character, and it's associated as a second face for the character. So yeah, we do end up doing that. Um, so what I am most excited to know is about you've dressed Pacho and the Maharaja of Jaipur, and I want to know how you do it, and how you would describe his voice in fashion, and what are the key elements that you keep in mind while you are dressing him up.
No, so my privilege starts from, so he's my nephew. And when I first shot him in Jodhpur in very casual, I think he was very, he just let us do what we want to do. And so it was a great time because now he's very savvy and he knows what he wants. And to me, he's actually the epitome of a perfect ambassador of India on an international scale. There are people like him, like Saif Ali Khan and many others. Also, if you see the images that we shot, there's ancestry that he brought in through his diamond. Most of them are natural diamonds, and to me, it's amazing that that he has this sophistication that is very self-created. I mean, he's sort of made this image by himself, and the notion that you are in a small place, in a small town, you can't do anything is completely demolished by watching somebody from a small town actually be a person that is the first point of contact for some of the international visiting people. So I think when you make clothes for people like him, it's very natural for the brand to sort of understand the subtlety of design, because there you don't need to do anything which is designer in per se. The more subtle and the more discreet it is, the more impactful it will be. So we always suggest to do a mix and match for people like them, because I remember doing the same with Ria. In that movie Khoobsurat, we styled giving Fahad Khan the makeover of a person like a Pacho, modern Pacho. And I think the trick is really to mix and match rather than have suits and matching stuff. So clothes, when they are worn casually, I think need all this accent, bringing accessories and the diamond buttons and things. So I think it's wonderful to have a living example of our inspiration board. To me, I think the three keywords that come out, whether it's dressing him or Saif Ali Khan, is that the subtlety factor. In fact, I remember when Saif got married, the outfit that he wore when he came and was waving his hand up on the balcony was actually a khadi kurta, which very few people picked up on. This is the most important function, but it looks so nice on him. The way he put it together, of course, half of the design is done by both of them because they understand style, which is, I think, the energy that a bespoke brand like us sort of wants to. I mean, when you say what is bespoke in India, this is what bespoke is, that you work with people and create small wardrobes for them rather than do winter collection and summer collection, which are aimlessly anti-sustainable, and you just churn it out and hope for the best to happen. So to me, this is actually what brand Raghavendra Rathore Jodhpur stands on, is to imbibe the values of people like Pacho, the Maharaja of Jaipur, and people like Saif Ali Khan, and take that as inspiration for the collection that we actually eventually churn out.
What I find interesting about what you said is, and what I take back from this is that you are kind of hearing these people out. You are hearing Apache, you're hearing a Saif Ali Khan, and then you are kind of not following the norms of this is how it should be, and this is how, breaking the norms and still understanding their lifestyle, their likes, their, and what they want to see themselves in. And I, like you said, the Khadi Kurta, I think that set an example for a lot of people to follow, that you can go to a khadi for your wedding day, and which I think is really beautiful. And I think he bought that out on such an important day of his life, which is an example that he set, and I think that's beautiful. I want to know that how does Apache incorporate natural diamonds in his style? Is it the typical old world, or does he do a modern twist on it, or does he incorporate it in only like his buttons or his accessories? Or how is it that he gets it in his daily life?
Well, I think he has probably the best inherited buttons in the list of clients that we have. He has very, very special heirloom buttons. That's a good starting point. He also recently, for a shoot, wore his great-grandfather's memorabilia, which had a little bit of diamond overture in it. So for him, the challenge is not so much. We are actually recreating that as a bespoke company. We've designed, I think every 3 months, we do a whole new set of natural diamond buttons. They're very select customers, but there are people who are collectors now who will just randomly call and say, listen, is there something new? Recently, we had somebody who carry their ancestor pictures, and we had to incorporate the diamond ring around the image of their grandfather. In fact, it just got made yesterday. So I can see this becoming a very strong trend, that I think people want to leave behind something for their children and their children. And there's nothing better than having accessories like natural diamond buttons or cufflinks, or whether it is bracelets. I think it's going to be a trend that stays, because there is a lot of push on sustainability. And when you make an achkan, which is for 5 lakhs or 20 lakhs with embroidery, what you're doing is it's a one-time experience, because eventually it'll perish. But when you invest in accessories, I think they last for a lifetime. So I think that's what we are observing, and it's a good trend. I feel very good about it, because that's the origins of the whole idea of men jewelry. So in your profession, you're looking at 2 hemispheres. I mean, there's a lot of acceptance in the West with people like Harry Styles, and a lot of people sort of diving into this unique, trait of their personality. But you've been dressing Ranveer Singh single-handedly, the one man who's actually changing the landscape and the acceptability of fashion. How do you do that? Number one. Number two, what is the 2 different methods for an international personality and a person in India to carry these things, whether it's a movie or whether it's an event? What are the 2 different, what are the differences, in other words?
That's a very lovely question, actually. When it comes to someone like a Ranveer Singh, I guess, when you talk about natural diamonds, you obviously are thinking about luxury, or you're thinking about, an emotional value, or you are kind of thinking of, it's like an heirloom piece. So when Ranveer flaunts his, diamonds on his ears, his 5 carats, he's kind of mixing all of these. For Ranveer Singh, it's really important that he what he wears not only has a real charm and a look around it, but it also has certain meaning. So the ones that he's sporting since a few months now are his mother's diamonds, and he kind of really enjoys wearing them. There's seldom a look where we would take it out if it's really not fitting in it, but I really enjoy the fact that he loves this so much and he wears it. It also brings the whole luxury angle in, when you see Ranveer Singh head to toe dressed, and then you see two sparkling studs in his ear, it kind of speaks luxury and fashion. And I feel, in the recent times, if I was to make a caricature of Ranveer, I would certainly put those as the blingy part, So I feel that that's become synonyms to what his image currently is. And when you talk about international or someone in India, I feel that when you are accessorizing yourself with real diamonds, with natural diamonds, there are two ways of doing it. One would be a lifestyle accessory, and one would be an event accessory. A lifestyle accessory would be something like your studs or probably a ring, which kind of, is not something that you're putting on a wardrobe or on your outfit. It would be something that you're comfortable to lead your regular daily mundane life with. But when you talk about, and a styled look, and that's when you use it as an accessory in terms of a button, in terms of cufflinks, in terms of a brooch, internationally and for Indians, I feel that is how we are trying to portray our luxury or our red carpet or our event look, and kind of glam it up by getting men wearing more of these pieces.
Yeah, very nicely put. Lessons for me as well today. So it's always been a challenge to get Bollywood to wear this from a designer perspective, because it has to go through stylists. But next time you're dressing, Ranveer, please call on us and we'll surprise you with what we have. So maybe it'll be too bling for him, but I think
That's too bling for him.
well,
Love that. I think it was really wonderful to speak to you, Raghu sir. It was really, I mean, it was insightful, and I'm really happy we could speak about this. And thank you for having me here.
no, it's been a pleasure to get the insight, the magic that you do, that billions and millions of people see through the celluloid. I think it's an amazing place to be, where trends are born and trends are disseminated in a democratized India with fashion exists today, because fashion designers are not the people who send the message. It's actually people like yourself. So it's a great insight for me. And
I really wanted to show you how this is the last book I purchased. Like, it is on the jewels, and the treasures of the Deccan. And I really think that I would have been, I mean, I wanted to really rush through and go through a little bit from here in the morning, because it is the jewels of the Nizams, and how much, like, I really think this was an amazing conversation. I'm glad we did this.
Thank you so much for this chat, and great insights again.
Thank you.